Okay,
There.
there we go.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll call to order at 7:16 p.m. I'll pass it over to Charlie for the territorial recognition.
Good evening, everyone. Brock University acknowledges the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of whom continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Acknowledging reminds us that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship of Indigenous people.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll move on to our approval of the agenda. Be it resolved, the board approves the agenda for meeting number 11. Can I please get a mover? Charlie, seconded by Dina. All in favor, please raise your virtual hand. Patty, just so you know, because I'm sharing my screen, I can't see everybody. So I'm hoping that you can see all the hands. Okay,
Good.
perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any abstentions? Seeing none, any opposed? Seeing none. Okay, so that passes. Approval of minutes. Be it resolved, the board approves the minutes for meeting number 10. Can I please get a mover? Mohi, seconded by Dina. All in favor, raise your virtual hand. Awesome. Any abstentions? Mohammed, are you abstaining? No, never mind. Any opposed? Awesome. Okay, that passes as well. Our next item is the club's funding policy changes update. So I believe I will invite Chloe into the call. Just give me a second. Okie dokie. Chloe is just joining. Hi, Chloe. Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're ready for you when you're good to go.
Okay, perfect. Anusha's here, right?
I am.
Okay, perfect. Anusha, do you want to start it off like we discussed last week?
Yep, I can.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. I don't know, Brielle, do you want to share the screen, like the document that we've posted on Boardable?
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, my screen is being shared.
Perfect. I'm able to see it. I hope everybody else is also. Perfect. I will get started. So after the last meeting, the club's team, that is Chloe and Jamie, and the executive team went back and to see how we can further refine the process a little bit more, to come with a much more better funding proposal. So after a lot of research from different universities that we've conducted, and we went back and forth quite a bit to see what would be the best sustainable way moving forward. So starting off, we thought that the club funding pool that we have in total, we would like to divide that into two separate pools. So like it would be 50% dedicated to special event funding, and 50% dedicated towards club activity funding. I will explain the special event funding and the club activity funding, and then I will pass it on to Chloe to move forward with the proposal. So the special event funding would basically be any event that would include a gala, a banquet, performance, showcase, a conference, or travel. So clubs would only be allowed to request club funding for one special event per academic year. And clubs will be applying for this special event funding through our BUSU website while a detailed survey or form that will be created by Jamie and Chloe, hopefully over the summer. And the special event is basically, like, as I said, any one-time event. So any club that would like to do an end-of-year gala, an end-of-year banquet, or would like to go see a performance or have a performance, and any club that would be doing like conference or travel throughout the year. So like any one big event that they would like to do, that would be considered a special event funding. And that any event that would be outside of the club's normal programming. So the special events would include like expenses like a venue, catering, transportation, production, or like conference travel expenses. So we will split the special events budget in half, and we will open that specific application to submit that budget twice in the fall semester. So it'll be, first one will be in the beginning of September after fall president's meeting. For this year specifically, we've added a date. I also just realized that that should probably be September 30th. Sorry, that was a mistake on the date side for me. There's no 31 days. So that's September 30th for this year specifically. And then it'll open again in after the fall ratification period, and it will close around November 23rd. So just to keep in mind, those two dates are just tentative. Like the dates can change every year, but the timings, like after the fall president's meeting and after the fall ratification period, is the timeline that we will keep in mind. So once these once these applications, are open, CAC, which is our club advisory committee, will meet twice after each special event request is received. So this will basically be a way for CAC to look at all the special event requests at once. So say that once the applications open in September, they close, CAC meets as a team, and they look at all the special event requests at once to be able to kind of see which club will get how much funding, and it's a more fair and easier process. Sorry, Brielle, could you keep scrolling down? Perfect, that's good. Thank you. So the club's administrator, that is Jamie, will inform all applicable clubs of the decision within 5 business days after CAC has met. Whatever would be left over from the special event budget from the September period will carry over to our November period, which is the second time that we would open the special event budget application. And once that period has also closed in November, any leftover budget will go back into our club activity budget, which is the second type of funding that I will be explaining in a little bit. No reallocation would be requested for the special event funding. So say, for example, a club requested for special event funding, received that funding, but didn't end up using it for that special event, they will not be able to reallocate it to any other event that they plan to do throughout the year. And within the special event request, the clubs, they would have to indicate at least one club activity that they have planned to host in that specific academic year as part of their request. So it's basically to hold the clubs accountable a little bit more, that you would need to do at least one club activity throughout the year so that you are kind of eligible for that special event to kind of host that at the end of the year or whenever you would like to. you can keep scrolling down. Perfect. So that's all about special event funding. The second part is the club activity funding section. So all other club events like tabling, any like club socials, like any small scale kind of based events will be considered under a club activity. So basically, any club activity that is organized and conducted by a club for the purpose of shared interests, skills, or basically social connections amongst its members, that will be considered a club activity. So, like I mentioned, workshops, tabling, networking, or any kind of social. Clubs will be allowed to apply for this club activity funding once per academic year or once per semester, basically how it's done as of in the current process. And regardless of the amount, the club's administrator will be able to review, approve, and deny all of these club activity funding requests, a way to minimize having to get CAC for every club request that comes in. And then clubs can reallocate club activity funds with the club's admin's written permission prior to the event happening. So they would have to let us know, or let club's admin know well in advance of whether they would like to reallocate the funds to another event. That can be done with written permission by the club's administrator. And we will withdraw any remaining approved club's funding at the end of the year, and it will be put back into the club's funding pool as a whole. So that kind of concludes the two types of funding that we would like to introduce. Chloe, I will pass it on to you, and if you have anything to add to the two sections, if I missed anything, please feel free to.
That was great. Thank you, Anusha. One thing we did also want to mention, any club funding, whether that's club activity or special event funding that isn't used by the end of the academic year, we will be removing that funding from the club account, and it will go back into next year's club funding as well. So the next topic is, it's kind of a funny word. It's the best word that we could come up with, and it kind of just stuck because it's kind of funny to say. It's called defunct clubs. And pretty much as of May 1st, the club's admin will close all Club Scotiabank account that didn't re-ratify for the upcoming academic year. And the amount that's in their account will be recorded and held in trust for one entire academic year. So we will just keep track in our records of, for example, the book club. Let's say they didn't re-ratify for next academic year and they have $500 in their account. When Jamie closes that account, he'll just record that the book club account was closed on May 1st, 2025. $500, and then so that if that club decides to re-ratify during that 1 year period, we will just give them that money back into the account. However, if, for example, that book club doesn't re-ratify and it's been a full academic year from when that club existed, then that money will just then go back into club funding. So that is defunct clubs. Just some further notes. Some things that Jamie and I noticed a lot with club funding this year. A lot of clubs seem to want funding for their just basic general meetings. And we found it, while we didn't approve a lot of the requests, I think we just want to have like a blanket rule that if you're having a general club meeting, things like food expenses, that's, you know, free snacks, meals, etc., just won't be covered. You know, the BUSU events team, I think, really does a great job of offering like free food events, and then so does the Food First program at BUSU. So we encourage a lot of folks to go utilize those services because we feel like the funding isn't utilized the best if it's just for a club meeting and everyone's just getting a 3-piece Popeye chicken meal, because yes, we did receive that funding request this year. The monthly reconciliation Excel sheets, we're working, but we just found that the Excel just wasn't making sense to a lot of folks. So we're actually going to be changing it to a form on the BUSU website that Jamie and I will be working on diligently this summer. And that way all clubs must reconcile expenses, regardless if they use club funding or generated revenue. We just want to see like what's going on in that account. So currently I'm the signing officer on all the accounts, but it's getting switched over to Jamie next academic year. And I found like when things were getting reconciled this year, I would see, like let's say $20 taken out for an e-transfer, and I'd have to email saying, hey, was this for club funding or was this your own generated revenue? And it just caused a lot of back and forth. And we also want to hold clubs accountable to making sure that they're diligently tracking their spending, because to be quite frank, it'll just help the longevity of the club if they're transparent with their finances. So that form will be on the BUSU website. We'll make it very detailed. They reconcile all expenses, and they upload things like their receipts and their e-transfer confirmations still in their Google Drive folder, which we send out in September. One thing we wanted to also push through is the club's advisory committee members cannot be club executives. They're welcome to be members of a club and be on the committee. They just have to declare a conflict of interest. I don't really think it's fair to have folks on the committee that's deciding on which club gets what funding if they have their own personal interest as a club executive. Moving forward, we also want the chair of the CAC meeting to be the BUSU president, which we talked to Anusha about. As well, aside from special event funding review, the only time CAC will have to get together is to pick the award categories, as well as the winners for the club's year-end dinner that happens in end of March, beginning of April. And then, of course, any club conflict that arises that I need to pull the committee for, that's when we'll get together with them as well. But again, like Anusha said, having it be this model eliminates getting the committee together twice a week. We found this year attendance and quorum was just not being met. And it's sad because these clubs then are waiting, a couple meetings or maybe even a couple weeks to get a decision because we're not meeting quorum. So with this new model, it allows clubs to get their funding quicker, decisions to be made faster, and everything just runs more efficiently. And lastly, the club's team will be creating a form through the BUSU website called the Club Resources Rental Form or something of that nature. And this will allow clubs to request to rent items. I did a end of year survey for all the executives because I just wanted their feedback about, what processes are working, what's not. Do you need any supplies? Just see if we can update any services that we're offering to clubs. And a lot of folks came back to us saying that they, really wanted tablecloths, like reusable tablecloths. So when they table in the hallway, it looks more presentable and professional. So we'll be getting things like tablecloths. Celine cleaned out the storage room and actually found things like a s'mores kit and a chocolate fountain, which she said she didn't need for her events team. So she gave it to the clubs team. So we'll be offering those to clubs as well. We also have a Nintendo Switch that can be used in the clubhouse. So just lots of items that are available to clubs and lots of resources. And we'll be having a rental sheet that folks can fill out and rent out those specific items. That's everything that Anusha and I had. If you had any questions, let us know. But truly, from the clubs team and the executives, we really sat down and worked through, a lot of these ideas. And the execs had a great idea of putting the money into special event and then club activity funding. And then Jamie and I sat down for several hours to figure out how does this work logistically within our team. So it was really like a big group effort. And I think we gave it a really good shot. So please let me know if you have any questions.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Awesome. Well, first off, thank you for this presentation. I'll just a little bit of feedback right away. First off, I think this is a much better idea than the previous one. So I like this version a lot more. I think the special events funding, particularly, is very strong. I think having um the club's uh advisory committee too review all the funding at once rather than on a rolling basis is much better, and I think that will help um kind of like limit the chances of us running out of funding before, the end of the first semester. So I think that's very good. In terms of questions, for the forget if it was under okay, so under the defunct club section, um the mention of holding the money in trust for 1 year. Um, why why not well, okay, why 1 year? Why hold it for the one academic year, I guess is what I want to know rather than just putting it back in the fund right away.
Yeah, so we actually ran into an issue this year, and you folks are aware of it. The Ch Chinese Scholars Students Association um, was like not ratified for a full academic year. So you folks voted on taking that money out and putting it back into club funding. That club actually contacted me several weeks later saying that, they're planning on re-ratifying in March and coming back next academic year. And, that money was fundraised. They would like it back. So I just feel like it kind of eliminates that possibility of the club executives beforehand worked really hard and fundraised all that money, or whether it is leftover club funding, it doesn't matter. At least if it sits in our account for a full academic year, at least the opportunity is there for folks to re-ratify that club and be given that money back. And then if it's not, we'll just put it back into club funding.
Okay. Thank you.
Mohis. Mohis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just had two questions, if that is okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So again, I do want to just repeat what Charlie said. It's a wonderful proposal. I really like all of the sections. It's organized very well. There's definitely a lot of thought put into different policy points that you have included in here, and I really think it's a big step forward. There were just two questions that I wanted to kind of ask when I was reviewing the proposal. So the first question relates to the funding pools that we are going to be creating. In particular, we're terming a new funding pool for special event funding and then another for special activity funding. And we're going to be dividing these into, obviously, our funding into these two buckets. My question is that, is it possible for the board, maybe the future board, to receive some type of graphic or some type of breakdown to help us understand, as an organization in the past, how is funding being divided in these two brackets? So in 2024, 2023, where was funding being allocated? So we can kind of be more informed about, are we moving in the best direction with these allocations?
Sorry, just so I understand, you're saying moving forward, you want to, sorry, can you rephrase?
Yeah, so in this funding proposal that are receiving, we've already allocated funding for, or proposing to allocate funding into special events and club activity. Now, what I recognized when I was reading it is that we don't have any data previously. How was funding being distributed in these two cost brackets? So I'm just wondering if maybe in the future, boards or for the organization, we can receive some type of breakdown.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, that's possible. I mean, again, this is our first time doing it, so we thought just splitting it 50-50 was the best way to go. And, let's say moving forward, we notice like, hey, like we've noticed we've used, maybe 60% of the budget can go towards special event and only 40% can go to club activity. And here's the data to support that. I'm in favor of that. I just think for next year, if this is favorable, I think starting with 50-50 is the best way to go because we've never done something like this before.
Okay. Is it okay if I just follow up on this point?
Yeah.
Okay. So I do definitely agree it's a great idea if we start with a baseline and then we move forward. My only concern is that we have several established clubs and new clubs also that are opening up. And, the Lego Association, many marginalized student communities and etc., they may be disadvantaged and we may not be recognizing that if we're moving forward on this baseline. So I just feel if we had additional data to understand in the past how we've been distributing funding, therefore what our students' expectation from BUSU and from us as a board, it may help us be even more surgical in allocating funding and then best representing student needs.
No, I agree with that point. And like moving forward, the club's team and I are happy to provide that data and provide that support where needed. I just think, like I said, moving like at least for next year, I think splitting it 50-50 is the best way to go. And then we just learn and we grow and we go from there.
Thank you on that, Chloe. And am I okay to ask my second question, Madam Chair, or?
Yeah, but if you don't mind just making it brief so we can move on to the next stuff.
Sure, I'll make it brief. So the other question I had regarding our new funding proposal is, sorry, just one second. Okay, yeah, so it's mentioned in the, oh, sorry, it's right there. Yeah, so it's mentioned in the notes section that the club's funding committee will be chaired by the BUSU president. Are you able to elaborate? So how would the dynamics change? So it'll be chaired by the BUSU president. Will other previous committee members also be present, or will it change now? Are there going to be different representatives, or?
No, nothing's
Okay.
nothing like that is changing. It's just instead of the vice president of student services being the chair, it's now going to be the president, and we'll still have the committee members and Jamie there as well.
Okay. Yeah, those are my questions. Thank you, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Miranda, go ahead.
I just had one question about the club activity funding. So does this mean that if a club has like money, like funds left over at the end of the year, is it going to go like, is it like can they use it the next year, or is it going to go back to like BUSU's club, like general funding? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that would make sense. So because the clubs are reconciling their expenses each month, Jamie and I will have a clear picture of exactly how much of their funding they have left over. If any in their account, if they have any club funding left over, it'll just get pulled from their account and put back into club funding at the end of the academic year.
Okay, so clubs can't so if clubs manage to save any money, they can't use it next year.
Not if it's club funding. Like if they do make their own generated revenue through, let's say, ticket sales
Okay.
or fundraising, they can keep that money, obviously, that's theirs. But any club funding that hasn't been used will take out of their account and put back into club funding.
Awesome. And I do just have one more question. So it says that special events like include travel. So what if a club were to travel for more than one event? Is that no longer like allowed?
Um, eh, well, like essentially, I guess no. Um, yeah, like they can only ask for like one special event request, and it's pooled into three different categories. So performance and showcase, gala and banquet, and conference and travel. So if that's a club that likes to travel, they can apply for one event, special event funding. And then if they want to do more, then they're going to have to cover it with ticket prices or something like that.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, seeing no more questions, is there anything the presenters need to add, or are we good to move on?
I think I'll just add that I know this is kind of not like a approval, but in the next meeting, in our we have a meeting scheduled for the 28th. We can surely get the policies updated, which currently the clubs team and the exec team are working on updating the policies according to the new proposed changes. So we could just kind of do a vote of if everybody approves these changes.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that, and thanks to the presenters. I think you're good to hop off if there's nothing else. And I'll stop sharing there.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
your time.
Nothing else from me. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Chloe.
Chloe.
Louis.
Bye.
Okay, sorry. We can move on. I'm just trying to figure out how to get my next screen up. Okay. Okay. So the next agenda item is the executive term limit proposal. So the motion is be it resolved board approves the executive term limit proposed as presented. This is something that was brought up by myself, believe Charlie as well, and another board member. But basically just as in the name, we want to suggest a term limit for executives. Sorry, one second. I'm just trying to pull up what I wrote. So give me a second. Sorry, I'm just having a hard time pulling up my notes. So just give me a moment. But if anyone else wants to speak on that, just go ahead. Hey guys, can you hear me? Okay, sorry about that. So my proposal is just that for the executives, it would be no more than 2 years for terms, so they can reapply for a following year. But after that, we would just kind of limit it to 2 years, just so that we have new people constantly coming in as executives. So that's what I'm looking to propose. Yeah, go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, I guess well, first off too, I know this is something I was thinking of as well. Um, but I would be curious to know if we were to do a term limit, would that just be like, okay, so if I want to say someone wanted to be VPSS for 2 years, could they then go for president and be president for 2 years? Or would it be a complete limit for 2 years on any exec position?
Correct. So
Okay.
my proposal would be 2-year limit as a BUSU executive, and that would just be for any position.
Okay.
Ian?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just heard Charlie's question. I have the exact same question. Thanks.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Could you repeat that?
I had the exact same question as Charlie, so we're
Oh,
good.
okay.
Yeah.
Anusha?
Yep, thank you, Bill. Um, this is just I did see this on the agenda, and I understand like where this might be coming from, but um, I'm just curious to know a little bit more as to uh, why this was not shared prior to the meeting, like as a topic sheet, just so that we had a chance to review it in terms of as the executive team. I think um, just to get some discussion going on on our side as well. So I know it's coming as an item where we were not given any prior information, but also like just coming to approve. So I'm just curious to hear a little bit more about that. And I am hoping we can maybe table this for the next meeting to get approved so that I am able to discuss this with the executive team. Because whatever said and done, the team is currently still in our terms, and I think we should have a say in this as well.
Yeah, like what I'm seeing is like in other aspects of the university with administrative positions, it's kind of similar with term limits. And I also view it as an executive, like we want new perspectives. There's always going to be turnover with new undergraduates coming in. I also think like as an executive, like it's a great opportunity, but I don't think it's necessarily like a profession to kind of keep like reapplying for the position. Um, this was just kind of brought up as an idea, and it's something that I was thinking of too, so I don't have like a topic sheet on it. But I did want to bring this to the board and just have it as a discussion. So that's why I brought it forth to the board. So I'm looking to pass this. So I guess my motion would be it resolved that we do limit terms to 2 years as an executive. Yes, Ian?
So are we gonna have like a discussion about this? Because I just had a few discussion points regarding this. So would
Yep,
that
we
be
can
fine?
definitely discuss it.
Uh, yeah, so I think that I do agree with this, like having 2 years into like as an executive at a certain club. Um, I don't really agree with them being in one position for 2 years and then promoting themselves in the same club for another position as well. Because not only it gives opportunities to new students coming in, but it also gives them an opportunity to go out there and see different clubs and be with them more. And I just think that having that like a fresh mind or always like a fresh person into the team definitely helps. So yeah, I personally do agree with having a 2 year limit as well as club executives.
Awesome. Thanks, Ian. Um, I'll put the motion out there on the floor, but like welcome to discuss any a new discussion from anybody. Yes, Charlie?
Sorry, I think there may be some miscommunication going on. This is not about club executives. This is about the BUSU executive team. Ian, were you talking about club executives?
I'm sorry, did I say club executive instead of BUSU executives?
That's what I heard. Maybe I heard wrong.
Oh, oh no, sorry. I'm
Okay.
sorry. My bad.
Sorry. No, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. And to that, Madam Chair, if I may, I think perhaps maybe I kind of agree with Anusha. Maybe we should um some kind of like package should be created first for board members to review, and so that we could see it on paper first before deciding. It would give more time for board members to kind of uh decide for themselves rather than doing it without, I guess, having knowledge of it beforehand. I think this is something worth thinking about more. So I would be open to tabling this for the next meeting.
Is there any other thoughts regarding the motion? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Um, I mean, it was on the agenda. So I guess if board members did read the agenda, they would have seen it. I'm just looking, oh, here. So the motion that I would put forward is that, be it resolved that the board commits to implementing a policy where students will be limited to 2 years as a BUSU executive. And then just be it further resolved, like we would task Kate or Robert to review the language required for the policy amendment and then present it to the board for final approval. Oh, yes, Mohiz.
I was just going to add my 2 cents and echo what you were saying, and but there's yeah, in the sense that I do think it's a good policy. I mean, any policy is good. I think it shows that we are taking initiative. We're exploring what's best for the organization. I'm also wondering if maybe an easier way to embed this in our kind of package, like policy package, is if we just kind of embed it into hiring itself. So one of the requirements for a new executive or a new applicant is that they have not been an exec for longer than 2 years. That way, we're already filtering. I think it's easier for people to see that, okay, this is a stipulation, and definitely we can explore it in future meeting as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Mohiz. Thanks for your comment. Um, anyway, so I do have my motion on the table, so I'm just looking for a mover and a seconder. Nina, are you moving?
Yes.
Okay, and then it just requires a seconder. Okay, seconded by Mohiz, thank you. And then just all in favor. Any abstentions? And any opposed?
Sorry, may I speak, Madam Chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was busy doing like a side task and I got caught up because it was something that I had to do. But I wanted to raise my hand for towards putting this through.
Okay, that sounds good. That will be noted. Okay, so adding then Mohammed's vote as 4, and then I believe I saw 2 abstentions and then none opposed. So then that motion passes.
My abstention be noted, please?
Yep, that's totally fine, Charlie.
Thank you.
Sorry, Brielle, can you reread your revised motion just so I could note it down too?
Yeah, I can also send it to you as well.
Okay.
Does that work better for you, Patty?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Thanks.
I will do that for you. Okay, let me just go back to the agenda for a second.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next item on our agenda is our in-camera session. So, can I get a mover to go in camera, please? Charlie, seconded by Mohiz, all in favor? Okay, any abstentions? And any opposed? Okay, we will then move in camera and we'll stop recording. Patty, are you good to stop recording?
Yep. I think you can stop the recording.
Okay,
It says
sorry.
you're
Okay, and I'm going to bring back up the agenda. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why this is so complicated for me. Okay,
I'm sorry I'm making you do it, Brielle.
no, that's okay. I now see how much effort goes into like the whole hosting. Um, okay, so we're gonna move on to reports, and hopefully everyone's had the chance to kind of read over them. But if you just want to touch on any highlights, Robert, I will pass it over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will do this as quickly as I can. So with respect to new student space, we're as close as we've ever been. We had some very good meetings last week. We're really just in the process of determining which model of HST we use, because there's implications on how much HST we pay. So we're certainly using our public accounting firm to determine that. And so we're really darn close. So our demolition is scheduled for September. And it's probably the first time where I'm like, this is really going to happen. So I'm very, very excited about that. With respect to our omnibus agreement sort of governs our relationship with Brock University. It was a tense series of conversations. We feel that we're pretty much right there now. We're going to get an agreement tomorrow or Wednesday from Brock University that should be, with the exception of some tweaks, what both sides have agreed to. So I also think that's some good updates. With respect to executive appointment, that is ongoing and we should be complete this week. And then I'll go just to the sort of final piece of this, is that our final exams conclude on April 24th. For those still writing, good luck with your final exams this term. With respect to board training, our board training for next year is on Wednesday, May the 21st. So that's already been scheduled. So Patty, thank you. On a personal note, on April 11th, I submitted my master's in education thesis. I'm waiting for my final grade on the thesis, and I'm scheduled to graduate now on June the 13th. And then finally, thank you, and I'll have one more opportunity to thank you in our final meeting, but I'd like to thank all the BUSU board members for their service to the undergraduate students this year. And what I'm saying this time is take a bow. It's been a good year and a long year, but I want to thank you for your service. So that concludes my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Robert, and for keeping it very concise. I appreciate you always sending in your reports. Is there any questions regarding any of the points on Robert's report? Okay, I'm not seeing any. And also congratulations, Robert, on your thesis as well coming through. Okay, let's move on to executive reports. Let me see if I can pull up. Oh, hold on. Oh, okay. I think it's just doing it. Okay. I'll pass it over to you, Anusha.
Perfect. Thank you, Brielle. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just pulling up my report. Okay, never mind. I'll just go through that. Perfect. So Robert has already given you a rundown on the Student Alumni Center, so I will not repeat that. We are still hopeful that it's going to go to Board of Trustees on May 1st. We had the last call event for Isaacs. We had a great turnout, great DJ. Everything really went smoothly. It was a final goodbye to Isaacs, which was wonderful. As you might be aware from my previous reports, I have been on the BUSU GSV Advisory Committee for the whole year. We've come down to our second last meeting. We're going to have our last one hopefully next week. And I'm currently working on that final report for that committee as well, on one section as a co-chair for that committee. The club funding model, me and Chloe brought that to you. That was something that we've been working for the last 2-3 weeks. And that's still underway as we get done policy, and then hopefully we'll get that to the next meeting for approval, for final approval. We had the GSA Gala, always happy to have that. We also had Pie Head. We were able to provide the award to one of the instructors here at Brock University, which was wonderful. It was a great evening, and it's always lovely to be at Pie Head. Academic accommodations policy. Me and Carly were invited to give our feedback on the policy that has been under revision for quite a bit of time, and it is going to be going to Senate soon. So they did a final stage review, which we were happy to give our feedback, and we saw some good, meaningful student feedback that was implemented into the policy as well. The Brock 60th anniversary time capsule. I have been on that events and planning committee for a while, and I've also now was part of the adjudication subcommittee for it, for the time capsule. And as part of BUSU, I provided, we provided, I must say, with a swag pack that is going to go in the time capsule, along with a letter that has been written by me, which will be opened in 60 years from now, so 2064. I was on the President's Surgite Award Committee. It was quite the stressful committee in terms of nominations, but it was really wonderful to see so many students being involved on campus. All those awards have now been given, if you might have seen the Brock University post that went out last week. I've been part of the Alumni Association for a very long time now, for the whole academic year. We're very happy to be part of that board, and also now happy to call myself a Brock alum. And we were able to have our last meeting with Dr. Rick, providing the Alumni Association with next steps and how we can integrate with the new Brock strategic plan. I had my coffee with my board mentor, Rob Welch, the most sweetest board mentor we could ask for. Really glad to have had him as a mentor this year, and his support for the building as well. So we had a great chat with him, discussed some next steps, and it was wonderful. We also had a lab tour that a professor was kindly invited us to, Jianbo Gao. It was a great tour, really wonderful to see all the work that's happening here at Brock, and some great innovation as well. We had our exec breakfast with the president and the provost last week. So that was just discussing how the year went, reflected on it, and the GSA team was also present there as well. I had my personal meeting with the provost as well. This was more of a reflection for me for the next team and how we can integrate more with the provost office, because she was new this year, so it was a little hard to kind of get a hold of getting meetings done because she had quite the busy year. So really got to have connected with her and to have kind of some next steps that I can pass on to the next team. You can keep going down, Brielle. And last but not least, the annual report is underway. Thank you to the marketing team on working with that. They've been going back and forth with our team as well to get some approvals on quotes and some content. So really kudos to the team for that. The executive board reports are on the BUSU website now. It was a goal that me and Jesse had in mind for a while since I started, but that was just not happening. So we finally have it on the website. And this last one will also go up on the website as well. I remember I did tell that last meeting that I will be providing with a food first update. There's still being some back and forth. Some changes are still underway, so I don't have a final update for you folks, but hopefully in the last meeting that we have for the 28th, if I can share something, I will surely do, or else the next president will. And I believe that's it. If you want to just go down a little bit more. Yep, that is it. The executive team is working on the transition documents, and I have to say it was a great year. Glad to have put the team, had the team together for a while. I was really happy to keep the team together. So thank you to all the board members, and really wishing a good year for the next board to come in. I'm not sure who all are staying on the board, but if you are staying along, all the best. Good luck, and thank you. I'm happy to take any questions now.
Thank you, Anusha. I see there is a question from Mohis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Anusha, thank you for your report as well. It's very wonderful. You worked very, very hard all year, and your entire presentation or PowerPoint really highlights the breadth of the work and how inspiring you've been for a lot of students. I felt an interesting question maybe students might be looking at or look to you as their BUSU president and your entire team, what you accomplished this year, could be that as a vision or maybe a set of priorities, what would you advise the next student union executives or the next board of directors, or what do you think they should focus on? What is maybe your vision or your hope for the next group of students who are going to be taking on these roles?
Thank you, Maurice. Thank you so much for all the feedback. I really appreciate it. It's a great question. Obviously, there's a lot that you learn throughout the year, and I'm being very honest. Half of the year it was just figuring out things as you go. But I think my key role for the year was to keep this team together, and no matter what. And as long as you have a full team, I think you can do wonders. So I think, as if I'm giving some advice to the next team, is just keep that communication, keep that bond, just be in the know of what's happening. This 1 year term can teach you a lot, and just be focused on why you wanted to apply for this position and what you wanted to achieve. You might not be able to achieve everything. It's quite the tight term to have, but just stick together and just be understanding of everybody's portfolios, be understanding of everybody's situations, um, and just keep moving ahead and make the building happen. That's my number one.
Thank you, Anusha. Any other questions? I'm not seeing any. Okay, so yep, thank you, Anusha, for your report and for answering the question. Did anyone, I'm assuming everybody read the VP reports. Did anyone have any questions regarding any of the VP reports? Okay, I'm not seeing any. So I guess just round table if anyone has anything to add. Our next meeting is next week. Okay, can I get then a mover to adjourn the meeting? Dina, all in favor? Awesome. I appreciate everyone's patience tonight. Have a great rest of your evening. Robert, hoping that I could talk to you just quickly before you
Absolutely.
get off.
Absolutely. So thanks all.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Take
Have a
care.
good night. Oh, sorry, Brielle.
Charlie?
Just one thing.
Yeah.
If you could just if ever the recording goes to you, could you let me know? I set it to my drive, but just in case